ED sister, can I help? My name's Eve Gillespie. I'm one of the senior sisters in the A&E department at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital.
Lovely, thank you.
So you've still got 2 empty at the moment? Lovely. Yeah. As soon as we get some space out here, we'll think about shopping people around, okay? The way that things have become in A&E over the last 2 years, you know, we're at breaking point. It can't carry on. The queues on the corridor and the situation that the patients are in and the department's in, it's unsafe.
I slipped down the stairs and I think I broke my foot. I'm in a lot of pain. Very bad.
So you just don't expect to see so many people and, you know, people not having beds, not being seen to by doctors. It just feels like we're in a third world country, to be honest with you.
We're probably seeing about 100 patients more per day than we were a year ago. 2 or 3 patients used to be stressful, but over the last couple of years this is just an average day that we would have this many patients on the corridor at one time.
And we're not even in winter yet.
No, sorry, excuse me.
We're going into the emergency department to see a gentleman who's already been in the emergency department for over 8 hours.
So, where are we going?
Going to resus. He needs to be in a bed on our medical admissions unit. We haven't been able to find that space for him. I think the delay we've got is because we're waiting for a side room.
Yeah, okay.
So, is he going to be stable enough to go into a side room? Probably is, actually, isn't it? If we can get his blood pressure up a bit.
A little bit more fluid, I don't know what.
The NHS is breaking at the seams. The amount of people who need the services that we can offer is growing, and we just do not have the resource to deal with them. Although he's not for full resuscitation, actually I would expect him to recover from this episode, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Brilliant.
Thank
you, Adam.
Thanks for updating.
The reason we have people queuing around the corners in the emergency department is because the whole system is stuck. We're congested. There's nowhere for anybody to go. If I can't discharge people from the back end of the hospital, so people needing the long-term care because of lack of community services, that means there's no beds coming up on the acute wards, which means there's no beds coming up on the medical admissions unit, and that's why people are stuck in A&E cubicles or even on the corridor in the emergency department. Right then, Bernard, how are you feeling?
Pretty bluntly knackered all the time. Can't use energy up doing anything else. I've used it up trying to breathe. I've been a pain in the arse on the ward because I know I have, because I'm blocking a sick person's bed up and I know they can't do anything else for me.
And you've been in hospital for, it's about 5 weeks this time, isn't it? And because of you getting so breathless, that's why we're looking for you to move into 24-hour care, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
But where?
But I must have had 4 people come to talk to me, been rejected by all of them because of this. Because care homes don't normally have built-in oxygen.
Bernard's told us that 4 different places have turned him down so far. And when I asked him how that made him feel, he pointed out that nobody actually gives him the direct message. The staff come and assess him and then they never actually say to his face, "We don't want you."
I ain't bothered snuffing it tomorrow. I wouldn't do anything to help it. I don't want reviving again. I don't want to keep coming backwards. I don't want to live whatever the rest of my life is like this.
I'm going to go and leave you, all right?
Yeah.
Do you want me to get Anne to bring you is that still hot?
Yeah,
It is still hot.
Should we have a catch up? Can we start moving some people down into rooms for me? The one at the front into 2, one behind into 3, and then we'll go, this chappie into 2 for me, and then the lady behind into 3.
I've got cancer.
Right. And what happened today, Frank?
Pardon?
What happened today?
Well, I've been very weak. And so I have to get in touch with my relatives, and got in touch with the doctors, and here I am.
I phone up every morning because we live a bit of away from Frank, and over the past few days he's become progressively weaker.
And how do you feel about having to wait in the corridor?
Well, it's a sign of our times, isn't it? I mean, they're under so much pressure now, with various things. So it's what you expect, really.
10 years ago, I never once nursed a patient in the corridor, never once had to shuffle people around and explain why we were sitting them out into the waiting room. It was easily managed within a department over the years. I mean, especially the last 2 years. Renal colic man can go into 6. It's just dreadful. There's just no space for people. I mean, walk round and see if there's anyone that can move out of cubicles so we can offload the new ones on. Yes.
So asked you to come here so we can complete an assessment on your mother, who is Vera Yates, date of birth the 30th of the 8th 1924. She's got advanced vascular dementia. I won't be recommending continuing healthcare at this moment in time.
Where does this leave Mum as far as her care?
It just means now that her care will not be funded by health. So she will receive £155.05 per week from the NHS towards her care in a nursing home.
I have 30 beds on this ward. Back in January, I had 3 or 4 patients possibly who've been on here for a few weeks. Most people are on here for 2 or 3 weeks at the most. Now I have at least 10 patients who are out on the social services computer system waiting for a long-term placement. I'm getting people with more challenging behavioural problems on the ward. They're the people who find it hard to find a care home that can meet their needs.
Have you had a cup of tea this afternoon, Mum? You think so? The overall process of moving from where we are now to where Mum needs to be during the next few weeks is just the concern that we have at the moment.
Free self-love, find your home in your world.
We've got a real show going now, haven't we? My background is sort of where, when you start the process off, at the beginning you create a deadline, don't you? I don't know whether that's there, and I'm just concerned that this thing will drag on.
QE alert phone. Hi, trauma desk.
Hello, I'm ringing from A&E. We're getting a code red through. So if we could have a massive transfusion protocol pack, please.
Yeah.
And I will ring when we've got details.
15 minutes
number, okay?
by land, yeah. Okay.
I'll call you back as soon as I've got a hospital number and trauma name. It's a 30-year-old male.
Yeah.
We've got 2 staff.
Yep.
We've got no ITU beds for the code red.
Okay.
Which I'm addressing at the moment, because I'm going to have to pull someone out of ITU into the beds that Divdy are giving me.
Yep. To see the NHS as it is now, I don't see it getting any better. Because I've got another empty one. I don't know what the answer is to it.
Okay. So we're just double checking next door. And then
but in my eyes, it's just gonna get worse. So he has had agonal breathing. They're worried cardiovascularly, so agonal breathing, was agitated. It was a push bike.
Hello, I'm ringing from Newsnight. We've got a code red trauma call through for in about 15 minutes. It's a 30-year-old male who's parasite at sea.
I feel for the patients.
how long have we got?
15 minutes.
I feel for the new nurses coming through that are going to have to work in an emergency department like this, and to never have known it how it was. You know, it's a shame. It just seems to be acceptable to treat people on the corridor, and you know, it's not dignified, really, is it? It's not the way we want to treat our patients, but we don't have a choice.
It's not secured to the scoop, that you have.